Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz. Że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej. By być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.
Zrzeczenie się. Zawarte tutaj materiały informacyjne i edukacyjne mają na celu promowanie ogólnego zrozumienia i dialogu na temat przetwarzania materiału GANS. Takie informacje nie mają na celu zastąpienia szkolenia klinicznego, doświadczenia lub oceny lekarza. Dla pacjentów i innych osób takie informacje nie zastępują profesjonalnych porad medycznych, terapeutycznych lub zdrowotnych. Czytelnicy, widzowie, słuchacze powinni zawsze skonsultować się z lekarzem w przypadku problemów lub wątpliwości medycznych, w tym decyzji dotyczących leków i innych metod leczenia lub w poważnych przypadkach zwrócić się o natychmiastową pomoc do personelu ratunkowego. Informacje na temat recept, procedur oraz używania urządzeń medycznych powinny być podejmowane wyłącznie przez odpowiednio przeszkolony i certyfikowany personel medyczny. W szczególności zrzekamy się wszelkich gwarancji bezpośrednich lub domyślnych, w tym domyślnych gwarancji przydatności handlowej lub przydatności do określonego celu. Zawarte tutaj informacje są dostarczane takie, jakie są i uważa się, że są dokładne w momencie ich publikacji, ale to zdaniem widza jest ocena dokładności wszelkich informacji zawartych w tej prezentacji. Każdy przedstawiony przypadek bazuje na własnym doświadczeniu stosowania wyłącznie przez siebie oraz na sobie i tyczy się tylko i wyłącznie tego przypadku. Każda osoba mająca problemy zdrowotne powinna zasięgnąć profesjonalnej porady lekarskiej oraz skonsultować przebieg leczenia z lekarzem. Opisane tutaj procesy balansowania plazmą są naturalnymi procesami wspomagającymi organizm, ale nie zastępują porady lekarskiej czy terapii, z których już korzystacie. Witamy wszystkich na 430 warsztatach poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim w niedzielę 10 stycznia 2021 roku. Tematem jest druga część warsztatu i czas przetłumaczony na dzisiaj to jest od godziny 49 minut do 2 godzin 3, od 2:16 do 2:54 25 sekund i ostatni fragment od 3 godzin do 3 godzin 31 minut. Jak zwykle zapraszam po warsztacie do rozmów lub zadawania pytań, na które postaramy się odpowiedzieć. Tak więc obejrzymy sobie warsztat. Zobaczymy, co nam nowego tutaj dr Keshe przedstawi.
I've read your inputs in the QA. You say an Italian knowledge seeker asks, what is the mistake into which humanity has fallen and falls continuously? Is it maybe the lack of humility or ethos of the knowledge? It is not the ethos of the knowledge, and it's not lack of humility. It's a lack of humbleness. Is a lack of understanding the position. You see, the way and the path the Keshe Foundation has taken is a replication of the life in the universe. Man, in the coming time, will understand how we thought and how we teach. We have the knowledge into the what I call library of the knowledge of the universe. We share it humbly, and they see it as our weakness. But in a way, it's the strength we have. And that makes us to be humble. We teach vigorously, we teach with a lot of humbleness, but through that we reach the souls who are ready to receive the knowledge. So is not the lack of, is understanding the position of and understanding the value of what you possess in that position. We share through our humbleness and knowing that what the others can do with it, it might advance the level of understanding of the creation or make the physical life more comfortable. But we don't go and envy that we gave this, we are better. As the logo of the Keshe Foundation says, we are here to serve and not to be served. And at this point of time, those who serve and are humble to share everything is seen as a sign of weakness. That you could do more, and that's why they don't. We are breaking into all levels of the society in a very, very soft way. But this time, as we go soft way, we take the soul of the man with us. And this is where it sits. And this is where the change has come in. As I said at the beginning of the teaching, can you become humble enough to become less in the strength as the fields of an electron that you can receive from it? Then you understand what it means and how it works. Man has become too arrogant in his mistaken identity of being successful in physical life. The more successful man has become, the more has brought demise to himself. The more advanced technologies you create, the more cancers you create. The more advanced technologies you create to create energy, the more you kill, like nuclear and the rest of it. In a way, the progress into science has become a noose around the neck of the man of compromise.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have another question from another knowledge seeker.
Yep.
And is that she's asking for help to stop consuming animal proteins, and she asked if it's possible to use vegans, the ones that are produced for agriculture, that are very, very easy to produce, and they give a lot of guns, and it is possible also to eliminate all the damage from pollution as
What
much
was
as
to
we
use
like.
which cans?
I think she says the guns produced with seawater and soda.
Sea gans.
Yes, sea guns, yes. In order to feed human beings.
You see, the seas, the oceans are the reservoir of life. Everything which is within the structure of the body of the man is within the ocean. This is why life created and has a composition of all elements. When you use the sea gans, ocean gans, clean, clear one, not the ones on the shores, which is contaminated with every kind of pollution, you, in a way, go back to the essence of the creation, how the life started, where everything was available, and to the ratio that the life supports. So when you make sea gans, you create the gas of all the elements of the creation within this planet. But the present ocean waters are contaminated with every man-made possible pollution product, polluting product. So would you like to have those within you, even though we cannot see them?
Okay.
As they say, there's more gold in the ocean's waters than is on land, because they're all in microstructure.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Okay, we've got a good question from the YouTube from earlier from Dynamic Soul, who says, Happy New Year, Keshe Foundation. What would be an ideal group exercise to practice with each other for us to become humble enough to elevate each other without making and using the cups? Thank you.
Can you repeat it?
What would be an ideal group exercise to practice with each other for us to become humble enough to elevate each other without making and using the cups?
What do you mean by group, and what is the purpose of it? When you create a cup, you create a singularity of events and fields. When you create the condition of individuals, you bring composition of souls. And what is involved with that soul? What factors? What is our needs? What is this position that is there in that time? You have to choose your partners when you do such a thing. What do you know about their structure of their life, and what is their life has been that has brought them to that point? What is their expectation and what is their aims? They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends wisely. Any other question?
Perhaps we can hear from Gatwa now.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe, and Happy New Year.
Good morning, Dr. Catherine. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, now you said in the beginning, first of all, let me thank you very much for your unsurpassed teachings throughout all these years that you have been teaching mankind and bringing about global peace. Thank you very much indeed. Now, my question is, in the beginning of this workshop, you said that we'll be able to create conditions similar to GPS to find the souls of the departed and where they went. And now I have a question about those souls themselves. Supposing one soul, such as that of a parent of someone, became the beginning of another star or another universe, whatever. Are they aware when they become that star? Do they remember they used to be the parents of so-and-so?
They remember the essence of their creation, yes. This is why even the sun, even a planet has a heartbeat. Comes with it. It's part of its structure, part of its creation. If mankind starts measuring the heartbeat of the stars and galaxies and universes, mankind will understand more about the truth about the conversion of the fields from energy to existence. Yes, it does. Yes, they do. And this is why we say we want to change the soul of the man, that once they become the creator of new solar system, new cycle, there is no misconduct in it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. I have another question regarding atoms. For example, when you have neutrons and protons and then electrons, I know that the proton is the creator. What is is the electron the physicality? And if so, what is the neutron?
Neutron is a mother and electron is one of the twin babies. And the size of neutron in each what we call universe is slightly different in the strength and collection of fields. That's why their cycle is created. That's why different universes exist. An atomic structure in the universe, as we call it, the hydrogen in the universe, could be different in mass and value. That's why we created the condition. Now the environment is slightly different. And so that's how a neutron is the minimum common denominator of fields which can sustain its existence in the dimension of the field strength of the universe, in gravitational magnetic field strength. This is in, I think, in book number 1. We explain that. It's in more depth in book number 4. You can create the fields of a planet or a star within the new structure of the new systems. We can create the heartbeat of the moon, we can create the heartbeat of the sun, and through that heartbeat, we can travel to the depths of the sun. This has already been achieved. We can create heartbeats of different strength and elements within the structure of the system to replicate this life. As I said in the teaching yesterday, in the new enhancement units, we don't create gold, we create the soul of the atom of a gold, that with it, if it needs to, it'll convert to the physical gold. We don't go and bring the energies, we bring the field strength of the soul of gold. It's much easier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, and Happy New Year. We look forward
Happy
to
New Year to
more
you.
enlightening teachings in the coming year. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
And go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, seemed like it's been a
If you
while back. You hear me?
If you can say who you are and where you're from, that would be good as well. Thank you.
I'm sorry. My name is Eric Vanover. I'm one of the good Dutch people from Kentucky.
Dutch are all good.
Well, just
Are you from Holland?
I'm yeah, supposedly my family came from Holland many years ago. I don't, probably 1840s.
Dutch people are good people.
Yeah.
Keshe Foundation is a Dutch organization.
Well, I guess okay, good. I feel like I'm a fairly good person, but what you taught us to make the CH3, and you showed us further that we could split it into deuterium and tritium. Wasn't that right?
Yes, if you understood it.
Vaguely. I'm just barely remembering this, but you're talking about, making like a hydrogen gasma, or then a hydrogen plasma, and that then I'm supposed to humble myself to give to the hydrogen plasma. So do I
You don't give, you receive from the high, the wrong way around.
Okay.
To receive from the hydrogen plasma. Doesn't mean necessarily what you give, the hydrogen will give back to at the strength unit. Then you are available, or the hydrogen you create is available to receive field energy from the others. It doesn't mean if you are emptying a cup to serve someone, that person has to serve a cup back to you. You get served from somewhere else.
So like somewhere else in the world, somebody's doing the same thing.
Yep.
Kind of like what
Maybe,
we're doing
yeah.
with all our Ganses and our units that we're making. Once we develop these all share through the they cross connect through the world, right? And we change the world. We change the attitude of the world.
If you notice from the beginning of time, where we taught the first gases of CO2, if you noticed, we use one common denominator that all of you use. Doesn't matter if it's a CH3 or CO or CO2 as a connection of the carbon oxygen is copper.
Yes.
Which is the matter existence of the man. So in a way, all of you connect and develop the gases and you spray gases, you have to start creating a common link between each other anyway. We didn't make it through the CO2, through the gases of this planet. We made it through the copper, which is the physical structure of the man. Unknowingly, for a lot of you, we have connected all the knowledge seekers to each other. And
Well,
in due course and time, we'll tell you how to use it.
Well, I thought we were. I've always thought we were linking somehow. Like when we were doing the GANS balls and the dynamic systems. We're creating these plasmas that extend beyond ourselves. And I guess our bodies have these plasmas too that extend out. And we're just displaying how ours is supposed to work too, right? That we're teaching ourselves to expand our soul and plasma out into the earth, into our surroundings.
In a way, through the back door, we have brought you a lot together. And in time, when the time comes right, we connect all of you without you knowing.
Now, I've always believed that. And I think what living in America and seeing what we've seen in America the last few years. Oh,
hello?
You still there?
You're breaking up there, Eric. Your signal's breaking up.
You hear me now?
Yep.
I just feel like in America, something's changed somewhat, a little bit in the direction of the good. And I was wanting to know if, are each individual knowledge seeker's efforts are contributing to that?
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. But we are for the first time linking people without what become knowledge without borders, if you call it. And we have managed to connect the soul of many people together through their own understanding. And as you say, your nation has changed, but the changes to come in the coming weeks in the United States will be the next step for peace. Let me explain something to you. I always don't disclose unless somebody touches it and we disclose it. If you remember, I explained to you the election of your new president and the vice president, when in August this year,
Yes.
we announced our support for Pamela.
Yes.
Because you have to understand that I was explaining this today as well, earlier on, and the possibility of the peace by the election of Biden has become very, very close. World peace can be achieved. There are reasons for it. We don't see Biden to last long as a president, as many of us know. And the situation has more drastically changed in the past few weeks. The new president of the United States, President Harris, is a far left communist ever mankind known. She's one of the far less hardest communist people we ever know. And this will bring America through her school of thoughts. She was bred this way by her father as a professor in what we call founder of one of the hardest far left communist organizations, universities in the United States. She's a communist through and through, but she's the Marxist Leninist communist. And this will bring China very close to the United States. The same with Russia. And this will tip the balance of the world peace towards peace. Because President Harris finds a lot of common goals with CPC and Putin. This is what, when we announced she will be the next president, we calculated it. Your next president, the first female president, will bring the line of American policy very close to equal and share and fairness in a communist manner. Go back and read about her history of her life. She's brought up by the mother and father who are one of the most far left Leninist, Marxist parents in American universities. And she'll bring that ethos in. And with it, we don't see further wars. Because in that ethos, in that language, you'll find a lot. Trump in one of his speeches referred to it, but he was not allowed to open it up. But maybe for the first time in the eve of New Year, in the next 20 days, you'll have a new president. If Biden gets to the full session, first session, which most of us don't think so, through dementia, we will see, as she's already set up, she is forming the American foreign policy through communist structure. Just watch. The number of minorities which will gather into the new administration will bring balance in the whole structure of the United States and the interaction with China. In a way, fairness and correct conduct in so many other ways, balancing of equality, will become one of the major foreign policies of the United States through President Harris. And this will see new changes. This will bring new understanding of how mankind and humanity will interact with each other. We expect this. This is why when we announced our position in respect to the next American Vice President some months ago, now you understand the reason behind it. We don't expect to see wars, as through the depth of the what we call not sympathetic, but understanding the ethos of the Marxism and working through the way that Lenin has worked, she will bring different direction of leadership into the American administration, which is very much will bring the balance into a lot of things. Would we see more legislation? Yes, we will. And with most of the legislation will be towards minority to bring a balance, we will see. But most of this legislation will bring balance to the nations of the science and technology, which is the ethos of her and Biden. You will see nations, new nations will merge with new technologies and will be supported by the new administration. This is why she chose the word of the science. And this will give opportunities, new opportunities to many nations to merge. And this will be a bigger, one of the biggest change we will see in the new American policy. And I think it will be a shock to many Americans, especially liberals and conservative, that's how the ethos of Lenin and Marxism has established solidly in the White House for the next 8 years. And this is why I said she will choose most probably a lady who is actually very close in the same school of thoughts as her. Women trusting each other to deliver. You'll be a very big shock in your new administration. We will see establishment of the new open policies, see establishment of more, less interference, but more direct intervention by CIA, which pushes the Leninism, and then they go through Pentagon to bring Marxism in. It's the way they're structured.
Will they expose the corruption of like, you know, they believe that this virus came out of the United States originally. I don't know if it's true, but some of the evidence has been pointed to me that University of North Carolina was behind the research into this virus. And, will that be exposed, or
we do not know. It cannot be told. Nobody really knows how this virus engineered.
okay?
If you ask someone from the other side of the fence, they say it was the right time of intervention by those who are not from this planet to change the course to prepare for the new changes.
Okay.
This is different school of thoughts. As we said in the Tuesday teaching, Keshe Foundation has endeavored to make sure that by delivery of the new vaccines, that no harm comes to man. If he has an advantage point, it will stay the same, but we will introduce new technology by next Thursday that can lead to 2 or 3 directions. If, for example, the vaccines are microchipped, chemical microchip, will teach you a way to protect yourself as you are in the space. In the space, energies which enter to the body of the man will change the crystal lattice of the cells. As we produce crystal salts in our body, we produce crystal structures which become very much like electronic systems we know, and then they can interfere with the structure of the body of the man and lead to creation of many functions like cancer. The new technology we'll teach next week is the way to be able to convert these chemical conversions into neutral state, which means if any ray fields enters your body and creates electronic systems as we know it now, that it amplifies or elevates or reduces the function of part of the body, at the point of entry of the field, you can change or block or disable the operation of the conversion of the energies into crystals. Last week, I touched very simply on the uses of the colors in the fabrics which create and leads to creation of crystals within the body of the man. That is part of the same teaching. This is part of the same process where crystals create transistors and the rest, and the operation of the fields flow in the body of the man. We do this ourselves. This is how our body communicates with our emotion. Now we show a technology that if anything foreign introduced into the body, you can convert it, you can block it, that it does not affect your emotion, does not affect your operation of the body, does not change your DNA or RNA. This will happen in space, that the combination of different fields create different structures within our body that can lead to creation of these what are called chemical secretaries, that these circuits that can change the operation of the part of the body or interact with the emotion. We teach you how to block the work of these systems as part of the space defense technology for human body. Then you can understand how you might be able to use it in different applications. In a space, a combination of the rays can create and lead to the creation of crystal lattice that is in the dimension of the carbon, and then create interaction that interferes with your emotion. We have seen these through the long-term stay of astronauts, Russian astronauts in space over 6 months to 12 months. Creation of crystals, change of behavior, and understanding that these behaviors can be triggered in certain ways and certain fields. In the teachings of coming weeks, we teach you how to block these, how to stop if such a crystallization or what we call interaction of the fields enters the body of the man in the space. It could be in the shape of a virus. It could be in any other shape. And this is a way that we can prevent any unwanted damages or introduction of new, what you call, elements into our body, can endanger our emotional lives or change our RNA or DNA, as we have seen in space.
So
we bring the knowledge of space, advanced space technology within next week to teach you how to block, how to convert. If these crystallization circuitry are established in your body through interaction of the fields in the universe.
So this is another
Hello?
fairness for space, or for the.
You are breaking up. We can't hear you.
So this is another step in preparing and sending people to space is to have this technology in place to protect us in our travel. If we're traveling physically in space, or we're also be traveling using our souls and our plasma, right? Too, without the
souls
physical-
can be affected by the same. So it's a general teaching.
Oh, okay.
It's the same way, because the interaction of the fields with the soul leads to the creation of the physicality of the man. So the souls are vulnerable into receiving fields that creates combustion and creates condition of creation, manifestation in physicality. It is very interesting how a knowledge has a multi-purpose use. Depends on where and how you want to use it.
Well, I never thought of our souls. I've always thought of our physicality being susceptible to viruses, things like that. But this is my first realization that souls can be affected by these things. By these energies.
You see, in the world of science, we say we cannot bend rays. But in fact, if you have the knowledge I have, I can make a circle of the same wave. I can make it to rotate around itself like a twister. But in the world of present science of physics, say you cannot bend the light. Light travels in a straight line. You give me the knowledge, as all of you have, if it's a particle or is it a ray, and then understanding of it as you have access to changing magnetic fields, which can interact and divert or attract any ray, be it the ray of light or being the ray of the soul of the man. The knowledge is very deep. And in that process, we understand the creation of it. And this is what we are teaching. This is what part of the opening of the knowledge and the sciences and will be. The sense of creation is not just what man taught. The science of creation is one man have to understand. And then it realizes power. In the new space technology, we need to understand the creation of materials within us. We create cancer cells through emotion, through interaction of the fields. So shall be that we understand we can, the same way as we can reverse a cancer cell to no cancer cell, we can change anything which is produced or introduced into our body as electrical products or collection of the fields in a chemical way into a non-effective position. We teach the universal process of creation. So we know how to interfere, how to block, and how to change. We need it. We've seen astronauts long-term stay in space, have created crystal cells and different emotional configuration on the return to Earth. Initially, I got involved with these through NASA, through, as I said, University of Washington years ago, to block astronauts to receive cosmic rays in their brain. We saw it as a photon, and the flashes of light in the brain creates crystal conditions that some of them creates their own circuitry. Now, and these circuits can create to creation of different emotions or encourage certain emotions. So this technology has been already developed and used in different way. Now we teach it that it can be used in the present time for those who become the passengers of the what are called universe through planet Earth, that as they receive fields of energies in the different shape of viruses and the prevention of the viruses, they can protect themselves. We cannot come back to Earth every time we hit a virus in space. Many of you know many of these techniques. Now you have to understand how to use it. When your body creates a crystal, which is very much like a microchip, you have to know how to open it up and how to disable it even if it still exists. Gaps and spaces in fields and energy creates different conditions in the body of the man. And this is why, for example, we see many of the people who go through some kind of surgeries, then they show development of the cancer at the point of surgery. The reason is, first of all, the lattice structure of the tissue has changed, and in most cases, we understand due to introduction of the elements of the cutting tools, they create a first condition of the elements within the cell of the cancer. When a doctor cuts flesh, that knife leaves microstructure of the, if it's a rough tissue, the way you put a knife to a sandstone, as atomic structure of the knife stays within the cell of the tissue which is left behind and becomes the center of the cancer. And that's how we see what we say, some of the cancers we see is accidental and through the operation. This is what happens. We change the environment and the copper, as the copper in the tissue, now through the introduction of the change of the field strength and most probably use of some copper products in the operating room, becomes the seed of the copper and becomes the seed of cancer. And then further on we see the production of cancer in the tissue. And this is why we see less and less cancers in those operations which laser beams have been used, because there is no introduction of the matter state into it. If you read the statistics about the number of cancers where the laser has been used for all the application, is more or less to near zero. But those who use the knives and everything else and infected what do you call it, operating room, we see the creation of cancer, because as we know by now, we can create two fields, and if we introduce a third field, we can create the matter of it. This is what happens in the body of the man. And now they create new materials, and those can create new conditions as a resistor and a transmitter and change up the DNA. And this is what some viruses do with us, the energy packs they deliver. We have
They
to
introduced the third field. The viruses introduced the third field.
It could be, yes. Even the condition of the materials, as we said last week, The
Yeah.
the body of the man, when the third field comes as a coloring or a vitamin additives, which is a carbon base, your body changes and starts producing crystals. That's what we said about the products, the sports products, and the coloring introduced as a carbon base. If one of these carbons introduced as a, which is used from coal, links and has the strength of the amino acid carbon of your body starts creating matter states. This is what a lot of knowledge seekers never understood. The level of the acidity conversion to alkaline is the point of the manifestation of matter state. This is why the doctors tell you the more alkaline you are, there is less possibility of the cancer, because with the alkalineness, which is the salt base, as many of you produce cancers, you stay in the energy level. As you go to the acidic base, you create a matter state. So as you go acidic, most of the condition of the fields of the plasma of the cancer in your body has the more opportunity to be at the level of the matter state. This is how matters are created. When we see a stone, when we see aluminium, when we see sulfur, when we see gold, we have to understand that's a point where acidity and the alkalineness of the environment of the cell itself, of the atom, is in balance for production of or manifestation of physical manifestation. And knowledge seekers by now should have understood this knowledge. This is why when we give gases to people, or water gases to people, or the doctors, they tell us they increase the use of the higher level alkaline base gases, we see the eradication and change of the environment of the body into non-cancerous, because we change the acidic into. The point of the conversion, if you go to very high alkalineness, you become acidic. And that's the point of the manifestation of the matter state. Where the gravitational and magnetical balance each other and are equal to each other, then it leads to manifestation of the matter state. That's how the surface of this planet is created. Due to, there are two things. One is the heartbeat of, which is the continuation and the flow of the fields, and the environmental condition of the gravitational magnetic field, or alkalineness and acidic. Acidic is what? And what is alkalineness? Which one is gravitational, which one is magnetical? And if you read book number 1, when the two balance out, we get the matter state, like the surface of the earth. So it should be very easy to be understood. When you find objects created or initiated in your body, if you can change the balance, find out what it is, and change the balance in it to balance of the alkalineness more than acidic, you'll find out the element cannot exist. Isn't this what you do in your gas production unit? You create alkalineness at the level that the matter changes to plasma. You call it a gas. And this is what you need to do in your body. As you increase the alkalineness and you reduce the acidic, the possibility of creation of cancer or solidification and creation of circuitry is impossible. It's simple science, and most of the knowledge seekers have not understood this. As they tell me, explain, but we thought you understood this a long time ago. It's the energy transfer to giving and taking. And when you bring the balance, you lead to the creation.
Hmm.
And then if you understood more, you can push the alkalineness to the point of the total fields that is less gravitational, that you become the giver, you become the receiver, you become the soul of the creator.
So, less gravitation. Alkalineness increase.
The weaker gravitation.
Weaker.
Yeah. Weaker in the strength. And that weaker comes from detachment when you give more. It has nothing to hold on to, it's an open span of the universe. This is where the science explains the ethos of the path of belief of faith and theology.
Theology teaches to be less gravitational.
Less possession and in detachment, isn't it?
Ah.
So that's where the science meets the religion, and science wins because he explains the religion. Religion has never explained the science. That's why we say the messengers of science are messengers of God. Nowhere in theology you can explain the creation scientifically. But with science we can explain the theology and creation of the soul. So science wins, as is the creator of it. Now you understand, as I said before, Keshe Foundation is where science meets the soul, as is the creator of it.
Is that why human relationships that are not possessive tend to do better? Where, you know, we have like codependent couples that they usually have bad relationships versus ones that like choose to be together versus like you know, being possessive of one, being possessive of the other.
Maybe.
Well, I've taken a lot of your time. I really thank you.
Very much.
For this.
Thank you very much for your time, and a happy new year to you.
I think it's going to be a great new year. And I just, you know, live in the United States. I just feel like, you know, you said Kamala months ago. I remember you saying that. And, you know, I was telling my friends, and they poo-pooed me, but, you know, my coworkers, but I believed you're right. And I, you know, when they won the election, I was like, yep, Mr. Keshe knew all along.
The next phase, what we see is what is in the pipeline is a world peace, but we need the leaders to look all in the same direction. It might be a slightly different policies, but overall, the totality of life will be in one direction. You got to understand, the Rothschilds even met, what do you call it, the Chinese leaders in the past. And they thought they can intrude and through their finances build but control the nation. In some ways they could, they did, but when Rothschild met Mao Zedong, he was a very clever man. He used them to bring prosperity to his nation, but did not allow them to interfere with the running of the nation, which is a big difference in the best. They run and they intrude. That's why you got the central bank. And that's why you got your financial structure, which is the Rothschilds running the United States. And this will change internally as President Harris takes over and other ways of the operation will come into operation. We'll see.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Rick, thanks for
The doctor, and doctors will be at the places where these are, and it all comes together in one place or another.
Okay. Well, so my dad had a question as well. He was born with a blockage in, I believe, his main valve. With
In where?
it being like I believe it was in the main valve of his heart. He had a blockage, and then had to have surgery by the time he was 8 or so. With it creating the environment of being in the womb again and helping to heal the body to heal, do you know, would it recreate that blockage that he was born with?
What is as a defect or as what is as a operation of the balance of the energies? There is a lot of expectation and false assumption by many knowledge seekers. Just that we have created these enhancement units, no one should be born with no defects and everything is done wrong will be perfected. But you have to understand, does your soul wants that? Has your soul created that position for its operation to gain or to access to so many other souls?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we have the technology does not mean we can intrude and steal and enforce. You understand? So this is a wrong assumption. Now that we have enhancement units, everything will be hunky-dory and we correct everything. But does the soul need or wants to have that position and improvement? Because what is the purpose of such a position or such a condition in the balance of the soul of the parents and the grandparents who created and did misconduct or did goods that they have to be brought back to? As I always say, when you see a beautiful person, very beautiful, what's the purpose of that beauty? And what is it when you see somebody very ugly, you say is ugly, what's the purpose of it? What attention is the soul needs that it created this beauty? That it needs to absorb fields because it's so low. Why do we see lack of confidence in one of the most beautiful women? They're very beautiful, they're very weak in character.
Okay.
What is the soul needs to create this? Why does somebody go through a handicap to get attention? What's the purpose of the souls which created it? What have they brought to be in that condition?
Mm-hmm. So does that go along with like soul contract on what we do prior
There is
to
no
coming
soul
into this life?
contract. It's accommodation of the totality. Sometimes accident happens, and then the accidents are different. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, there is at the moment there is a lot of taboo. There is a lot of concern regarding some of the vaccinations to the children. But we have seen how they change the whole life of a family, these vaccinations, for life. And the doctors know what they're doing.
Sure.
So one of the senior advisors to the government and to FDA regarding these injections to the children, he knew what damages they do, but the money they gave him was so lucrative that he lied and cheated all the way through. What do these souls do? What do we do with them? It's the same I was explaining recently, past few days. The war in Iraq started with one man's lie, because he wanted attention, and the more attention he got, the more elaborate made the lies and made the nation to go into war. They were looking for an excuse, but that he was the excuse.
Yes.
So we cannot interfere and expect, just because we have the system, everything we create will be absolutely perfect. The soul which receives it has to come to an agreement with what the other souls and his soul has done and the purpose of his creation. This is a false belief amongst the knowledge seekers, that with this, if I have such a handicap or such a disease, yes, we give you the position, we give you this, but would you see where the mistake has been? Would you elevate you and your soul to understand the misconduct of the past, and you can put it right, that you expect such a change in your physicality? That's what we elevate the soul, because it needs to, it has to be understood, otherwise there's no elevation achieved.
Okay, so that has to do with the ascension part, with how the earth and everything's moving as well, the higher consciousness.
Pardon?
So that also has to do with the ascension, with us moving to higher consciousness as well.
Yes, more or less. We are
Yes.
created of all this. We are the creator, and at the same time we've been created through it to bring the balance.
Okay. Well, and then so when this technology becomes is rolling out and becomes the new standard, it's going to be, is it already in place right now that when it's ready to go, that it will be covered through insurance, or will a typical cost for use?
In a way, yes, but in a way, what we are looking at, due to its process, Keshe Foundation, once we launch the enhancement unit, will introduce a universal insurance policy for these units, which means we cover ourselves through the process we set up for those who might want to use in the future or want to use the system now.
Okay.
This is part of, because by the insurance companies, we have to have this and that. The Keshe Foundation will introduce such a policy. You created the fund. This will be in the hand of the, what they call the head of the foundations, to structure such a policy that by the time we get 5 years, 10 years, insurance companies accept, you can subscribe to the policy to the Keshe Foundation. Yeah, because
within like 5 years or so?
We do not know. There is no limitation. We'll have the exclusion that most of the insurance companies have. If you had such a disease, you cannot be insured.
Oh, so there'll be
that.
What do you call it?
Well, I have worked on
Preconditions
this. I have worked on this over past 10 years. I used to own a what they call insurance broker business. I understand. I'm fully aware of the, what you call, pitfall of the insurance policies. Exclusions when you need it. The way the foundation will introduce this, approach is nobody will be excluded as much as possible, unless
Okay.
there's this, in a way, you don't need to have a policy. You just get insured the minute you know you're ill and you fiddle with the papers. If you have to be insured, you do it in advance, or while you're sick, it can be done. But as the foundation owns majority of the partnerships in these organizations, we allow certain numbers to be done on the basis of what you call it, free use or use to pay later, as you
Okay.
afford. There'll be no rejection. The only way we will reject at this moment anyone is if you have like external systems, and if you can handle it, we develop technologies to handle it, then we can include those as well. This technology belongs to humanity. We are just the
That's wonderful.
caretakers of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So it's my understanding. I mean, it's that in the States, I'm from Utah in the United States. My understanding is they're going to be introduced to the state of Arizona very soon. Is that
We
correct?
are
My understanding?
hoping, yes, we have. We are updating the system so rapidly, and even yesterday in the lab, we're working. The Keshe Foundation team hasn't taken a break, just 1 or 2 days for Christmas holidays, and we're still working. The system is upgraded in a massive way, and we will release the systems hopefully in latest February, and we'll see the development and releases of them.
Oh, wow, that's very soon. That's wonderful.
The leap in technology in past 10 weeks that I've returned back into the lab is huge. Instead of waiting and then doing things, we are introducing the construction has not changed. The physical, what do you call it, the envelope, it stays the same. In the technology development with our team, we saw there is no need. We cannot use any control systems. We cannot use any computers because the system creates its own functionality. So we had to take all the computers, everything out, because it overrides. When we had the systems, the computers looking in the background, is a different field flowing than what we're trying to induce. So all the control systems have been ripped out. And a new control system is getting developed to be put in through the operation, the balance of the system itself. There's no use putting the system out and trying to upgrade or change it in the process, because the housing and attachment into the inner structure now changes with a new development. There's no motor, there's no computers, there's no control system. And this brings a new dimension into operation, where the operator's soul and a wish becomes the controller of the system. When you come in with, let's say, a ball, which is the structure of your disease or your soul or your physicality, it places with the doctor. And then you trust it. We talked about this into a space technology, where we entrust our souls into the hand of the pilot. Now we entrust our souls in the hand of the doctors and the physicians, which they accept our souls. And our development at the moment is in that level.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Okay, yes. Let's see. Oh man, let's see. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not on point as well as I was, I think, hoping I would have been. Yeah, the biggest reason that I've been wanting to inquire about this has been the health of my parents and everything. I'm waiting on potential investment to hopefully pay off in the near future when this does come about. Then private citizens can buy the equipment to help roll this out faster. We just would have to hire a doctor who is well versed in being able to run the machine.
We advise that number of people who want to buy individual systems to collectively to agree in one center, and that they all have, and they're part of what we said to the people we sign MOU with and contracts, is that number of people in the family, those who buy the system or donate system, will be allowed to use the system on the basis of free use. In a way, you say at the beginning, you say, I want 3 or 5 members of my family to be included for the usage of the system. So it doesn't come into the cost. Every effort has been made to expand the process, but at the same time, a lot of people are waiting for the first system to be shown that they kick out the rest. And we're trying to complete the system in a way of at least a complete comprehensive unit without motors. Now we passed, has been achieved. Now we are in a phase of the control through the thoughts of the operator, which now we can do, as been announced in the systems. And so we are more or less in the final phase to add what we call the environmental system into the solid body base which has been built.
Okay.
Our aim is that when you enter into the system, you see nothing. You just enter. As more or less when you go into the womb, when you look into the womb of the mother, there is no reactors hanging everywhere. You create an environment from outside. And this is our plan, and that's what we are working on. Hopefully, within the next few days, that will be completed. Then the physical structure can be evolved around the new understanding and development.
So, in the case of, like, with my mom's cancer, she had to have 2 lymph nodes removed from her neck, and she had to have her tongue rebuilt. With this, like with her tongue, would it regenerate her tongue?
It all depends what it is and what it'll be at the time. These kind of things, the generation of the organs and part of the body of the man, is a simple part of the technology. Very simple part. The first one we did, it cost us less than 10 cents the system to build it. But understanding the technology, proof of concept. It's when you know how to manipulate the fields of the universe, it's very easy to develop systems.
Yes. Okay.
The biggest problem will be to be able to measure the strength of the emotion, which has led to the creation of what we call the condition.
Sure. Okay. So, with that, with it being the emotion and coming from the emotion of the person, proper channels of that person going through and doing proper healing internally, then it frees up to allow the machine to make the job easier. By
It's the
searching
physicality
through
and the soul of the man which accommodates it.
So by doing soul searching and then really figuring out, why do I feel
We don't soul
this
search,
way?
you make it available. You see, the structure of the new system is very simple. And that is, we create an environment that the life can exist and develop in an appropriate way for every cell of the soul. It's very much, I explained this in one of the teachings, that you have a man and a woman, and the womb of the woman is fixed. is the man which she shares life with. Could be a black man, could be a white man, could be a Chinese, then dictates what kind of life will take shape in that womb. You understand? Understanding
Yeah.
that we create a fundamental principle of the environment. Then what soul do we introduce into this machine? What was the expectation of the soul? And what does the soul and the soul of physicality agree to develop in respect to the condition? The womb stays constant. What we introduce, because the egg always comes from the same source within the structure, now what externally we introduce? Is it the white man, a black man, Chinese, short man, tall man? And what is the interaction with the fields which leads to the creation of that child? And now the science and technology is at that level when these enhancement units, as we said before, it's like a womb of the mother.
Yes.
And the soul of the man who enters it is like that, the sperm. What do we expect in respect to this constant flow of the love and giving of the system?
Oh, okay. So it's my understanding that prior to taking vaccinations or the poisons that have been put in our food, is it true that when we're first born, we are born with 12 strands of DNA, and then after it's limited down to say 2 through vaccinations, and that to make it to where we're lucky to live
Do you
100 years
believe
old?
that? Do you believe that? Does it make sense? Has injections have changed the color of your eyes, the length of your leg, and the color of your skin? Do you understand?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, hasn't changed the color of my skin or anything like that. No.
Yeah, but you got to understand with the new technology, you can go, if you understand the desire of the soul of the man is to look blonde, blue, and you have black and brown eyes, you can do that. At least in respect to your own eye and your own expectation. Not necessarily in the eye of the others. You understand?
Mm-hmm. So if it's your expectation, it is, I guess I don't quite understand. I
It's a
apologize.
desire of emotion.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay, that's the desire. If that's what you desire, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
That what
see.
desire is a point of satisfaction. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
In,
Yes,
in
sir.
an English word, we call it craving.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
yes. Thank you
it
for
depends.
explaining that better. Thank you. And then right now I'm, let's see, at some point as the technology progresses, do you see age reversal?
We don't see age reversal. It is possible, but it is being at the soul that you can live the span of time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't expect when you're 60 to be shown 16. You still can do regenerate, but what do you call it? Allow the cells at that age to be. But how can you sell your granddaughter? You are a granddaughter when you're younger than your own granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the acceptability of reality is another point. In the time of the creation, as messengers of Creator, we have the opportunity and we use this to manifest ourselves in different ages and dimensions. And we can do that. We stay on this planet for thousands of years. And we go from one cycle to another. And according to where we manifest ourselves, we take the shape and the image of the presence and the position.
Mm-hmm.
So it is possible. I can regenerate myself many times at the age of newborn till the age of 100 and then take shape in another dimension, another newborn, as we've done many times. So it is possible, but you have to understand the desire and the purpose.
Okay. So, but say once it is, and you were say 80 years old, but you want to be 30 again, you would still retain all the knowledge and everything that you have up until that point, correct?
I was explaining recently to one of the knowledge seekers. I even remember where I slept and where I was, and how long I spent in deserts waiting, and what condition and what do I see. In the process of time, when you choose the position of the, what we call the soul of the man, to exist within the dimension of physicality of the planet, you carry the whole memory. As I said many times, as tomorrow is what we call the New Year and we had the Christmas, and we come into the Easter. I said many times, I even feel the hammering of the nail. And then you remember the beheading of the head. Because we've seen and we felt the bullet going through the body at the time of martyrdom. You leave the full cycle with a full memory. And many of it brings pain.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, it's definitely a whole new way of looking at things, of opening up consciously and thinking on just how this works. I didn't realize, I mean, I knew that there was a lot to it. I just didn't realize the approach, and that it's absolutely incredible. So
it is what we call, you call it RNA, we call it memory bank of the soul of the man. The soul stays the same in different condition of physicality, is manifested in different dimensions. This is what, because we do it so often and so normal to us, in many teachings I explain, when your soul arrives at a position, then it decides in what shape and color in respect to its position to manifest itself. If you appear on moon and trying to breathe the oxygen which is not there, you don't survive. But your soul adapts to the environment, how it can get the energy to live, because breathing is a way of absorbing energy from the environment. What kind of energies can you absorb from the environment of the moon that guarantees the survival of the physicality and the life of the soul? So we carry a memory in respect to the position and time of the manifestation. And this is what we do as a passing messengers of the universe. There is no time and space. We just change our position according to the environment and expectation of time. This is why you see in many of the holy books, they tell you how and where and when the promised one will appear. Because it's them, it's the same soul. It's my soul which says this is how it is. So I arrange it to be there when you arise because I promised it, now I show it. This is when we explain the creation of time and the presence and the position. That's how it is done.
wow.
We plan it and we deliver. It's just you say, I make you a cup of tea and it'll be Earl Grey tea because I decided I'll give you a cup of tea and it'll be Earl Grey. So I make it that way by the time you come home. We do the same because it's us, it's the same soul. Promises I'll be there at that time and that'll be it. So as I promised, I deliver because I make it. I have the time of 2000 years, you don't. So it appears as to me, oh, is it the promised one? It's the same soul delivering what it said. It's the same when we say something, we don't lie. We just leave it to the time and position for it to be delivered according to the time and the space. But for man expects it to see it tomorrow.
Sure. So, yeah, with the planning stage prior to birth and all of that, but while we're here on Earth, I don't know whether it's in a meditative state or a prayer state or in a dreamlike state, if we can go into it with the intention, we can alter things. I mean, it's a way of more planning, correct?
Intention is a desire. Intention is what I want. So what you want, if it is correct, you can manage to do it. I want somebody to love who's this and this and this. And because I expect that my condition, I find the one I want. You know, it's like you go to, you look for an animal in there. I want a cat, which is this, or a dog, which is this, 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 this. And I go to as many kennels till I find the one I want. Or a car.
Okay.
It's the same desire.
Yep, it's all about intention, like you said. It's about the desire. It's about the craving. That you go into it with what you desire, what you crave, what it is that you want. Then that helps.
It's a shopping list of demands. In a way, if you look at it.
Yeah, I got it now. Okay. But
the thing is, do you have the ability to meet the desire? I would like to have a Rolls Royce, but I don't have the money in my pocket. Huh? Do I build a business who can give me $1 million to buy a Rolls Royce, or do I rob a bank and then I desire it and I find a way to create it? It's the same way, but in the level of the soul, you cannot. We promise the change, and the change will come because we organize it the way it is, but we cannot steal from the souls. We encourage the souls to collaborate, to cooperate. We'll find a point of collaboration and working, be it in the creation of a child, be it in creation of a nation, be it creation of the planet or universe.
Okay. Yep, that makes perfect sense now. Yeah, all about Yep, I understand now. Now would be a perfect way to be able to explain it to my family on that.
I hope so.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. I wish all the best with your mom and dad.
Thank you very much, sir.
And a happy new year.
Thank you as well, and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, and I hope everyone has a wonderful night.
Thank you.
And a happy new year.
Happy New Year. Many of us will spend for the first time this new year alone, as the lockdowns by the governments enforcing new conditions come into operation. It will be the first time mankind will not be able to get together to celebrate the birth of the Christ, as will happen in last week and the coming of the new year tomorrow. And this might be a point for contemplation. Does the man need to have companion in the depth of the space? Or do we become, as we are tonight, celebrating a new year, the last man standing? Today, that's what we believe and what we'll see to be the creator of the next generation of life. In a way, this virus has brought many, many new realizations to man. And in a way,
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Your microphone switched off there.
yes. And in a way, the mankind has become a passenger of this spaceship of the earth in the dimension of the universe. And now we are learning how, as a last man, to handle the viruses. As a last man, how we contemplate to exist and celebrate the memories of being on earth ,
, while we are isolated. In many Western countries, '
Tonight, they cannot be with anyone but their own family and their own, most of them on their own, as is forbidden. As we actually become individual people in a spaceship of Earth, confined to space and dimensions that we cannot interact. Maybe this is the first time man gets a true feeling of spaceman locked down with the conditions, and how, as a last man standing, we survive, we live, we enjoy and celebrate a time being and having time to be with each other. Enjoy, those of you who are believers in the path of Christ and celebrating a new year. I wonder if any government will carry on with the lighting and celebration the way they used to, or as we've seen in some of the cities, a meager one light or one statue symbolizes the coming of the new year and Christmas. In so many ways, we have entered a true age of space and the space technology and the interaction in the life of the universe. The virus has its plenty and solitude and singleness to see if we survive it. Let's see. Shall we call it a day?
Dziękuję za wysłuchanie i obejrzenie. Więc zapraszam, jeżeli ktoś chce zabrać głos, to zapraszam. Jeśli nie ma nikogo, to spotykamy się w czwartek. Tak więc dziękuję za dzisiaj. To były 430 warsztaty poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim z niedzieli 10 stycznia 2021 roku. Dzięki za przetłumaczenie, życzę dobrej nocy. No i przemyślenia, zrozumienia tego, co tu było dzisiaj powiedziane. Tak więc do usłyszenia. Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.